Well, good Sunday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear. What's up, Joe Bear? In the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. My God, can you believe it's week 4, Sunday number 4 of 18? We wait so long for the season to get here, and then all of a sudden it just starts flying by. And what a difference basically 3 weeks have made from that Tampa Bay loss to where we are right now, facing our hated rivalry, the Washington Commanders, away. But I hate to say, it's nothing like what it used to be. I'm actually sad because I understand. See, you young people, I'm old, and I wouldn't trade my age or the time that I've been on this planet for anything, because I've seen things that were great. Back in the day when the NFC East was the team that was pretty much, it was going to be the team that had a Super Bowl team. You know, with Tom Landry and, of course, with Joe Gibbs and things. Those coaches were incredible. And it was a conflict between the two because we each stood in what the other wanted. And when it was Cowboys Washington week, it was literally electricity in the air. The whole week, you would see tons of Washington Redskins gear, or now it should be Commanders gear. But here I am walking through Washington, D.C., me, Game Time, and Randy wearing Dallas Cowboys gear in the middle of Washington, D.C., and not seeing a single fan wearing anything Redskins, football team, Commanders, nothing. There's no life. My own brother, who bets my father, he's a Washington fan. My dad's always been a Dallas fan. The reason why I'm a Dallas fan. Lost last week and owed my dad. Didn't call him and say, congratulations, you're the better team. No. He mailed a check. And he's so demoralized, he wrote the check, including today. He's got no faith. And I think that's actually a travesty from what we used to have. I miss those days when it was the game. It was so bad that when Rio on Tuesday night sent me the link for us to do a live stream together, I was like, we were doing a show? He's like, yeah, we played. I was like, oh, snap, I forgot. It's become that bad. But let Washington beat us today. And I tell you what, I think that rivalry might be back. And see, I'm actually worried about this. I don't know if we're good enough to be considered this to be a trap game. I don't know that we're ready to say that just yet. But this could be a trap game. This is a game that, oh, yeah, the Cowboys, they should be winning this, going away. But those are the games that you look at and say, you end up finding a way to lose. So don't sleep on the Washington Commanders because they can beat you. Now, some other news that has nothing to do with this game this week, but hopefully this will help to settle some of this. Per Adam Schefter, Dak Prescott is eyeing return for next week against the Rams. Now, a lot of people said, oh, well, he can't come back versus the Rams on the road. You know, that would be crazy. Maybe the Eagles. You know, and then, of course, you have people that are saying, oh, well, you know, you just keep Cooper Rush till he's in, till he loses, and this. And it's like, listen, when Dak is healthy, a full go, he going to go. Now, I was talking about the points differential. Right now, we're a -2. And what that is how many points your offense is averaging versus how many points your defense is giving up. We got a great 17.3 points we're giving away a game, but we're still, even with Cooper Rush's 2 games, 15.6. We need to start scoring more points. You got a Super Bowl caliber defense. It's time that we get that offense to that same point. Cooper Rush has done some great things. I love it. He's done exactly what you want from your backup quarterback, and that is not to lose. And he's also increased his value and net worth. But if we get into a big shootout, I'm not sure that he's going to be the guy. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong. If we have two quarterbacks that can lead us to a Super Bowl, I'm happy. I'm happy as can be. And so we'll be getting set up here and getting ready for the games. But I want you guys, you youngins out there, those ones that don't understand, just a little taste of what it used to be.
As many plot twists and memorable characters as a Louis L'Amour Western.
I know it's staticky.
The rivalry began in 1960 with the formation of the new Dallas franchise. The Cowboys weren't expected to be competitive on the field, but their existence did endanger the lucrative Southern radio network of the Redskins and their owner, George Preston Marshall. To keep Dallas from disrupting his broadcasting empire, Marshall refused to vote them into the league. Such stubbornness almost cost Marshall his beloved team fight song.
No, hail to the Commanders.
The rivalry honestly really started when George Marshall, I think, the former owner of the Washington Redskins, did not want to award the Dallas Cowboys the franchise here in Dallas. And Clint Murchison, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, received a letter that the Washington Redskins fight song was not patent. So Clint Murchison patented the song and told Marshall that if, in fact, you don't vote for me to get this franchise in Dallas, then you won't have the Redskins fight song. So that's how the rivalry started.
The expansion ragtags from Dallas enraged Marshall even more when they began making a regular habit of beating his Redskins.
Yeah.
Dallas jumps back into the driver's seat. Don Meredith has rushed hard but manages to connect with Billy Houghton. Houghton sets sail for the end zone and he makes it in on a 44-yard dazzler.
The Redskins quickly realized that it was wise to have their war paint on whenever they squared off against the armed and dangerous Cowboys.
I remember a couple games against Dallas where they got tough people down there, and they would join at me, and we joined back and forth. And the linebacker, when they were Chuck Howley, they would buzz him out to actually cut my route off before I got into the pattern. And Chuck was being kind of physical. He was punching me a couple of times, and I said, hey, Chuck, you know, it's only a game, man, you know, and he'd come out and punch me again.
It was a bitter rivalry. It was tough. It was aggressive, and there was not a lot of friendship between the players during those years. We had some fantastic games. They were not always championship games, but for us, they were with Washington.
As the 1960s ended, the Cowboys were kings of the Eastern Division, while the Redskins lagged far behind. But a new football administration in the nation's capital would soon bring winning back to Washington. When George Allen became the head coach of the Redskins in 1971, he brought with him infectious enthusiasm and a collection of old pros who knew how to win in the NFL.
The over-the-hill gang.
The Redskins were hungry for a victory. They were hungry for any kind of a successful season. They hadn't had a championship in 30 years.
What I tried to dwell on is that you're in the nation's capital. You're representing the nation. And I felt that way myself. We had a special mission.
He'd say Tex Ram put the Cowboys in there because he thought that the East Division was patsies, that the Redskins would never be anything, and that it was a setup by the league to make sure that the Cowboys always got to the playoffs.
Roger Staubach and company. Roger Staubach, Tom Landry, Tex Ram. Here we go.
This music has killed me.
Dallas was so good. They had won the division 5 straight years. And I remember making a statement that if we can't beat Dallas, there's no sense in issuing the equipment.
But I remember George always saying that, you know, if it was up to him to have the outcome of the game, he would like to fight Tom Landry on a 50-yard line of the game if that what it meant to win. I don't think he'd have won.
Go hard, go hard, go hard. Okay, that's the way to find daylight. That's the way to find daylight. Okay.
Total opposite.
Their practice field there's some apartment buildings nearby. They had the police clear the apartments. They were sure George had spies everywhere.
Boy, that's the way to go.
He made up all these goofy stories, got us to hate the Cowboys. The Cowboys, we were just the Redskins, you know what I mean? We meant nothing to them. But George got us so whipped up and fired up that, you know, that we go out there and we'd be crazed by the time we stepped on the field. And then in response to our craziness, and they got crazy, so the rivalry developed. It really came because George had a team which didn't have that much skill.
He built his Redskins up to where they were about to pop. And they were so emotionally high, buddy, that if you walked in that stadium, you better have your guns on because they were coming after you. It was, I'm telling you, I might say I hated him, but he had his boys ready to play.
The Redskins were out for blood when they met the Cowboys for the 1972 Conference Championship.
Kilmer drops straight back. Being rushed, throws his pass to the end zone to Taylor. Touchdown, Washington.
Die, you dogs, die! Die, you yellow dogs! Die!
Do you see the physicality there?
This punishing war of attrition, the Redskin-Cowboy rivalry was never the same.
Trying to create a hatred between both teams and just hoping that our team hated them more on Sunday than they hated us. And those games that we hated them more, we always won.
The following season, a national audience witnessed the feud in all its fury.
We went to Washington to play on a Monday night. I never was ever in a game like I was in that night. It's a wonderful football game. True hard-hitting, players swearing at other players, players swearing at the other coaches. It was a hatred type of deal. We hated each other, and they beat us. Last play of the game, Walt Garrison caught the ball on the 1-inch line, getting ready to score, and Kenny Houston stopped it. And I was a rookie, and I had thought I'd never, ever played in a game like that before in my life.
It was not a war story, but rather a fairy tale, when a Dallas benchwarmer replaced an injured Roger Staubach and made magic in Texas Stadium.
Clinton Longley's the hope of all obscure players. You know, that come off of the bench in a tight situation and go to and have the great glory he had that afternoon. That was a tremendous performance. You just couldn't believe it. You know, when you lose your quarterback and you're up against Washington, who's a good football team, and you're behind to start with, you don't expect things to happen like that.
Landry came and said, well, they're talking, said they're going to knock Roger out, and all we've got left is that rookie, you know, nameless rookie. And then he just kind of would turn his head and look at me like this, you know, like, well. But I was confident, you know, I felt like at the time I was a gunfighter with a football. If there was somebody open, I could hit him.
Longley brought his team from far behind, leading Dallas to 3 touchdowns and a win over Washington for the most thrilling game ever played in the Cowboys' traditional Thanksgiving series.
Drew Pearson.
But no Dallas rally will ever surpass Roger Staubach's heroic performance in the final week of the 1979 season. Both teams needed a victory to make the playoffs, and such high stakes made for high drama.
From the beginning to the end, it was comebacks by both teams, and we came back 21-17 and looked like we had total control of the game, and then all of a sudden we didn't have any control of the game.
Theismann delayed play to Riggins, coming to the right side, and Riggins has a big hole, first down,
Frickin'
down the
Riggins.
sideline, 40, 30, he's gone to the 20, the 10, he's still on his feet, touchdown, and that may be more than the Cowboys can overcome.
I was recording the game with KRLD as a guest broadcaster that day. In my heart, I believed that the Cowboys were going to win the game. And my announcer, the co-announcer with me, Brad Shim, kept saying, hey, Charlie, there's no way. The game's over. I said, Brad, hey, you got to believe that this team can win, that if we could just get the ball back to Roger somehow.
Clock is running, 2:38 left in the game. Shotgun
Captain
formation,
comeback.
Staubach throwing, caught, springs.
Go. Touchdown.
Touchdown, Rod Springs.
How can you live like this, doing this every day?
This is what it's all about.
This is a killer.
42 seconds left in the game. Redskins lead by 6. Second down and 8 from the 8-yard line. No shotgun this time. Staubach throwing in the end zone. Tony Hill.
Thrill Hill.
Tony Hill. The Cowboys have won the East. The Cowboys have come from behind twice. Unbelievably.
What a history we used to have between the two of us. And so you have to understand, that was football. That was just watching and reliving this brought back so many memories. When that happened, I was an 8th grader. And remembering how football used to be, it was violent. You know, we see hits today that, you know, get flags. That was a hit almost every play. The physicality, the passion, the desire, the this is my team is so lost in today's football. Back then, it was a business, but it was personal for the players. Now it's just straight business. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just different from what I used to see. And those who weren't lucky enough to be here that aren't old like me, you'll never understand that Washington-Dallas week, walking through D.C. and not seeing a single Washington fan, not hearing a snicker or go back to Dallas. For those of you who are old like me, you'll remember the Indian looking over at the traffic and the pollution and everything else, the pollution commercials, and he turns to you and he has a tear that runs down his eye. That's how I felt being in Washington during Hate Week and not seeing a single Washington fan. I couldn't imagine going to Philadelphia or New York and having the same feeling. Washington, you got to do better than this.
Our folks here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the show for the sports report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is